I was there when it happened, and to this day, the elders still speak of it in hushed voices around the evening fire. It all began in the village of Kwambe, where the great baobab tree stood at the heart of the community. The tree was ancient, its roots deep in the red earth, and the elders always warned us that it was not just a tree, it was home to a spirit older than time itself. Now, in Kwambe, there was a young man named Jengo, the only son of Baraza, a respected farmer. Jengo had everything a young man could ask for: strength, good looks, and a family that adored him. But he also had something else, something dangerous: pride. He believed that his father's success meant he was above the ways of the village. He refused to work in the fields, laughed at the elders' wisdom, and spent his days boasting about how he would soon leave Kwambe for the city, where real men lived. One evening, as the villagers gathered under the baobab for storytelling, Jengo arrived with his usual air of arrogance. "These old stories," he scoffed, "are for children. The baobab is just a tree, nothing more. There is no spirit." The elders exchanged glances, their faces unreadable. Mzikato, the oldest man in the village, sighed. "Jengo," he said, his voice as steady as the wind before a storm, "pride blinds even the wisest of men. Do not mock what you do not understand." But Jengo only laughed. "If the spirit is real, let it show itself now," he challenged, slapping the tree's rough bark. The night air grew thick. A hush fell over the crowd. Even the insects, which never ceased their songs, went silent. But nothing happened. Jengo smirked, triumphant. "You see? Just a tree." He turned and walked away, his laughter echoing into the darkness. That was the last time Kwambe saw Jengo as he had been. The change was slow at first. The next morning, he refused to eat, complaining of a bitter taste in his mouth. Then came the fevers, the restless nights filled with strange mumblings. He spoke of whispers in the wind, of eyes watching him from the shadows. His mother, Mama Asha, called upon the village healer, Bibi Niarai, who examined him with knowing eyes. "This is no ordinary illness," she murmured. "The spirit of the baobab is displeased." Baraza, desperate, knelt before the healer. "What must we do?" Bibi Niarai sighed. "Jengo must humble himself. He must offer a sacrifice and ask for forgiveness." But Jengo, despite his weakness, scoffed at the idea. "I will not bow to a tree." Days passed, and Jengo's condition worsened. He grew thin, his once powerful legs barely able to carry him. Then one night, something happened that none of us can forget. A storm, unlike any we had ever seen, swept through Kwambe. The winds howled, and the baobab's branches thrashed wildly, though no other tree was disturbed. Lightning split the sky, and a voice, low, rumbling like the earth itself, seemed to echo through the village. Pride has no place where the old spirits dwell. The next morning, Jengo was gone. We searched everywhere, by the river, in the fields, even deep into the forest, but there was no trace of him. It was as if the wind had carried him away. Then Mzikato, standing before the baobab, pointed to something strange. A new root had emerged from the base of the tree. It was thick and twisted, its bark smoother than the others, as if it had only just grown. And in its curves, if one looked closely, it almost seemed to form the shape of a man, head bowed as if in regret. From that day on, no one in Kwambe ever mocked the spirits again. And when the winds blew through the baobab's branches, we sometimes heard a whisper, a voice filled with sorrow, carried by the wind. Jengo never left for the city. The spirit of the baobab had claimed him, a lesson for all who would let pride blind them to the unseen forces that guard the land.